Endurance racing has always been an important part of the Spoon DNA. It is a platform for us to showcase our parts, how reliable they are, how they perform, and more importantly, it allows us to use the race as a test bed to learn about each application, each car, develop new products, learn just new things about racing and about how we can improve as a company, how we can improve our products, how we can develop new products. And we've always used endurance racing to get this goal. This year is a little bit special because our company founder, Mr. Ichishima-san, he turned 70 and he's also retiring as the president of the company. He'll still be around racing, but as the day-to-day function of the company, he's going to be stepping back a little bit. And it's also the 25 Hours of Thunderhill, which we've run a couple times already. And there's a little play on the numbers here. 70 years old plus 25 hours equals 95. And number 95 is the number that we've always been running since the founding of the company. So it makes it a little bit of a special race for us this year. For this campaign, we had 7 drivers, 4 drivers from Japan and 3 drivers, including myself, from the US. And to make a car for 7 drivers to pilot is not easy, but for us, we just have to make sure it's a super easy and reliable car to drive. We decided to choose the Honda Civic Type R FK8 because it's the current generation Honda performance car. And as Spoon Sports, we've always tuned and worked on Honda Type Rs. The benefit of using a car that's been in production for a couple years is that we've already tested a lot of these parts. So using knowledge that we've gained throughout the years, we're able to combine all that knowledge and put together a race car that is very reliable and that, doesn't give us many surprises. From when we decided to do the race in June, we had roughly 5 months to complete the car in time for our first shakedown at Global Time Attack in November. 5 months seems like a long time, but it came down to the wire. So we started off with a perfectly good street-driven, street-legal car. And first thing we did was strip it down. And once we got it stripped down, we had it 3D scanned so we can build the cage. And the cage was built in CAD. We had it robotic bend. It came from Chair Slayer. Amazing cage. This thing fit so perfectly. It goes together without any gussets binding it to the chassis. The cage is so close to the chassis that the cage welds directly to the chassis, which is really unique to this build. And I think that's going to be very common in future builds. After that, basically we just started working on safety systems. The fuel cell has to go in. We have our fire suppression system, window nets, safety belts, all those kind of things are pretty much the most important part and the most differentiating part about these kind of endurance car builds. Other than that, the car is fairly stock. The engine is pretty much stock internally. We just have a lot of cooling in the car. We have our Spoon radiator on there, but we have additional oil coolers. We have a transmission cooler. Speaking of the transmission, that's a weak point of the Civic Type R from the factory. So we put in a Quaife sequential transmission, and that was bulletproof throughout the whole race. And then it's got to go off the paint. The paint guys pulled a miracle and painted the whole car in 3 days. And then, right after that, we got to get the car wrapped, get the livery on there. And then once all that's on there, we got to make sure the car's buttoned up so we can get it dyno tuned. And then off the test we go.
We're here at Monumental Raceway for global time attack, but the main object for us is to test the car for Thunderhill 25 hours. The car feels really good. I just drove this car for the first time 2 days ago, and just off the shelf, it's really good because they know how to make the race car. And we just need to tweak, and we just need to test the longevity of certain parts. And so far, it has been really productive. I've done 25 hours of Thunderhill back in 2013 with Spoon Sports. At the time we drove a CRZ, but this time we have a CTR. A lot more horsepower and a higher class, so it's gonna be completely different. What I have learned in the last time, it's really about consistency. You're not gonna push the car that much. It's almost like you're gonna really drive easily, but in high pace. So the balance is really the key, and yeah, it's totally different from other like wheel-to-wheel race. You have to save the car, and most important thing is to last 25 hours.
The reason why we go testing is because we need to shake down the car. It was a 4-day test. We ran all 4 days. The car ran most of the time, which is what we wanted. Everything that went wrong for the car went wrong during the test, which is exactly why we tested, and that's why we did what we did, so we can fix everything before the actual race. We can prepare as much as we planned. We can do as much testing as we could, but nothing prepares you for Thunderhill.